Welcome to your Lean Training. I'm your coach, trainer, Evans Kariuki, and I'm excited that you've decided to be part of this Lean Training. I'm sure by now you've learned a lot of great things, a lot of new things, and maybe some things that you knew, but it just gets better and better and better. Today we're going to be going through 5S and visual management, and we're going to be talking about workplace organization. I'm sure like you would want to be more organized because being organized becomes very motivating. So regardless of where you are in the organization, if you're a leader, if you're a team member, if you're part of the team, whether you're administrative or whether you're in an operational space, being organized will be a great part in making sure that you succeed on your job. So that's what today is about. It's 5S, workplace organization, and visual management. A little bit about myself before we get into the course. I have been doing Lean and Six Sigma now for about 16, 17 years or so. I began when I went to college at the University of Tennessee. I did my internship in General Electric, where I did my Six Sigma black belt, and I had the pleasure of working with such great minds, and I learned a lot in Six Sigma. Then I went to work for Toyota, the logistics division, TAI, Toyota Tsusho, which allowed me to learn lean principles. So I'll be talking to you about a little bit of my experiences with this, and I'm sure together we're going to learn a lot. One way you can ask questions or stay connected to the materials is by putting a comment in your learning platform, in the learning management platform. That's learn.ikanbanonline.com. And any comments or any questions you ask right there where you're watching this will be answered by one of our trained professionals. Also, you can pause this video at any time. That is why video learning is a great tool. You can pause it at any time. We have a lot of slides to go through, but as we're going through it, you can pause it at any time and replay and watch it again. I encourage you to watch the material over and over. Actually, the first 3 to 5 years of a candidate in Toyota is spent learning 5S. You spend a lot of time learning 5S your first year, your second year, your third year, because 5S is the backbone of lean systems, as we're going to see. So that's why it's important for us to introduce it in the first couple of weeks in the Learning to See course. So let's get into the material. Let's get into the 5S visual management. I'm going to go ahead and play the slides. So we're going to be covering 5S and visual management. What is 5S? 5S, by definition, is a system of steps and procedures that can be used by individuals and teams to arrange their work areas in the best manner to optimize performance, comfort, safety, and cleanliness. It's a workplace organization tool that makes you work more efficiently. That's what 5S does. And I want us to go ahead as we get into the material, go ahead and play a game and do an exercise. And as we do this exercise, you cannot cheat. You cannot cheat on this exercise. So let's go ahead and play this exercise. As you can see on my screen here, we have numbers. We have several numbers on the screen there. And I want you to join me in playing this exercise. If you're doing it on your iPad, or if you're doing it on your device, or if you're printing the material, take a moment and print the slides. They have been provided to you on your learning management system, so you can print the slides and follow along. The first step of this exercise is you have 20 seconds. You have 20 seconds to complete this exercise. I'm going to run the stopwatch and you run it where you are too. So for the sake of this video, I'm going to speed it up, but I'm hoping that you will run your full 20 seconds. And the whole aim of the exercise is to draw a circle around each number in sequence. and connect them. For example, you begin with 1. I'm going to walk through this. If you can see my pen, you find number 1, and someone help me find it. I'm sure you can see it right where you are. Go ahead and point out number 1. I see number 3 there, and I need to find number 1. Someone help me find it. Point out number 1 right there. So number 1, then I go to number 2, circle it, number 3, and so on and so forth. So I want you to play along with me. There is my number 1, my number 2, and my number 3. You've got 60 seconds. No cheating. Do it on your sheet. And 3, 2, 1, go. 20 seconds, sorry. 20 seconds. Great. I hope you have completed your sheet. I hope you allowed yourself the 20 seconds that were needed and you've completed your sheet. How was it? How easy was it to do that? How easy was it to run through that exercise? All right. Now, the next part, it gets a little bit more enjoyable. I have taken out some of the numbers. I've taken out some of the numbers and arranged them a little bit different. The same rules apply. You go through the numbers 1 all the way down, and 3, 2, 1. 20 seconds begin now. Great. How was that part of the exercise? Wow. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Now, the third part of it, I have organized the numbers a little bit better. I've drawn lines between different groups of numbers. I've organized them a little bit different. I've sorted the numbers a little bit different. And you still have 20 seconds. I don't know if you are successful the first time or the second time, but I want to take a wild guess that you really were not successful. So let's try it. This third time, maybe 3 times, is a charm. 3, 2, 1, go. How are you doing? Keep going. You've got 20 seconds. Great. How was it that time? A little bit better? A little bit better? What if we arranged all the numbers in sequence from 1 to 49 like you can see on the screen? And now you're going to try it again. You've got 20 seconds, and all you have to do is cross out each number. So just cross out each number. You've got 20 seconds. 3, 2, 1, go. That's my time. How did you do? Was it much easier that time? What was the difference between this first one, this last one, and the first one? It's the same numbers, just different way of organizing. We took out numbers that we didn't need. What was the difference? The difference between the first and the last is how the numbers were organized. This chart or this list of numbers can go all the way to 90, all the way to 100, but as long as they're organized, it's easier for us to fulfill our task of either circling the numbers or drawing a line across the numbers in sequence. It's easier for us to do that the more the numbers are organized. That is the gist of 5S, getting your work to where you're very organized and you can do your work faster, easier, and more enjoyable. and in a systematic manner. How many of you would like to know how to do that? If you're like me, I'd like to know how to be more organized. So let's get into today's material. Let's get into the lesson for today. So 5S. 5S, as we have said, is a workplace organization, a system of workplace organization. When it all comes down to it, 5S helps us organize ourselves. It helps us organize ourselves. It's steps and procedures that help us organize ourselves. 5S is not painting, labeling, putting tags on stuff, IDing things. I bet today if you looked at different garages and different rooms, you find things with tags that mean nothing. 5S is not just labeling things or labeling stuff, it's actually organizing. So what is the purpose of 5S? The purpose of 5S is moving from average performance to world class. Because regardless of how good you are at your job, if you're not organized, you're not able to perform on a world-class level. This is a football player, and if the more you get organized and the more you get systemized and the more tools you use to problem solve and reduce problems, the more efficient you become over time. What are the benefits of 5S implementation? Benefits of 5S implementation. Number one is a clean and organized workplace. A clean and organized workplace is a safer workplace. Safer meaning you have less injuries. Safer meaning you enjoy what you do more. Safer meaning you feel happy coming into work every day because your work is organized. Also, it contributes to how we feel about processes. Next, it also becomes a showcase, something that employees and employers are proud of, something that the team is proud of, something that they can showcase. Nobody wants to invite someone into their environment if their environment is a mess, as we're going to see here in a few slides. Also, it allows us to improve quality. One of the benefits of being organized is to allow you to become more efficient, to improve quality and improve efficiency. This sounds like a great exam question. What are the 5 benefits of 5S? There's going to be a test after this, so I hope you're taking notes. What is 5S and where do the S's come from? 5S is sort, stabilize, shine, standardize, and sustain. Let's say it together. Sort, stabilize, shine, standardize, sustain. Those are the 5 S's. Sort, stabilize, shine, standardize, sustain. How do we sort? How do we stabilize? How do we shine? How do we standardize? And how do we sustain? And the whole aim of it is to reduce waste. In the next teaching, we're going to be talking about the 8 types of wastes. After we learn 5S, we're going to learn about the different types of waste so you can learn how to identify them throughout your workspace. So let us define each S. Sort comes from a Japanese word called seiri. Seiri. Seiri means to segregate or eliminate. Here is where you need to really pay much attention. The first step to being organized, the first step to this way of thinking is to segregate or eliminate. Segregate needed items from unneeded items. Eliminate the non-essential items and the items that you can recycle, the items that you can donate, and the items that you can throw away. Seiri. segregate or eliminate. There is no need of keeping items in your workspace that you don't need for your everyday work. Here is a rule of thumb that I learned at Toyota. If you use something every day, keep it in your belt. If you use something every hour, keep it at arm's reach. If you use something every 8 hours or every shift, keep it in a shelf nearby. If you use something every week, keep it in a shelf away from the workspace. If you use something every month, it needs to be kept off site, because that helps you be more organized and helps you be more systemized. Set in order. Set in order is Seiton. Seiton, which means to arrange and identify. So once you've separated your good from your needed from not needed, you now begin to identify of the items that you have left. You begin to identify and arrange them so that they are correctly placed by everyone. They are correctly placed and easy to find. You find a home for the things that you need. Next is shine or say so. I'd like to hear you try say some of those Japanese words. Say so, which is daily cleanup procedure. So once you've organized your workspace, what is your daily cleanup routine? A wise man once said, success is determined by your daily habits. So once you've got a workplace organized, you don't just leave it. You continuously clean, continuously improve, continuously shine, continuously make the place look well, pleasing, and appealing. It also means to identify, correct, and repeat housekeeping and correct housekeeping problems. Next, seiketsu, which is to standardize, to set up standard practices in the area and identify activities that are specific and easy to perform. Coming up with a standard. So this is a standard of operation. And the way to do that is using tools like check sheets. We're going to talk about check sheets, and I'll teach you check sheets and how check sheets can be a very powerful tool. And in the check sheets, we're going to work on how to do standard work. So we'll talk about standardized work and how to come up with standard procedures and check sheets that help you keep things in place. Next is shitsuke, which is discipline. Discipline, self-discipline, promoting an adherence to visual management discipline and visual performance measure tools. So how do you enforce discipline in the workplace? Of these 5 items, the last one, the discipline, is the hardest one to get. Now, you may be very early in your lean journey, so just be patient. It takes years and years to really build the discipline. I've been doing 5S for very many years, but still I find myself having to remind myself to be disciplined in organization, to be disciplined in process management. And guess what? I'm here to walk with you across your lean journey, and you can ask any questions you have, and you can work through any issues that you may have. One honorable mention is safety, which is considered a 6S. Safety, now in the Toyota production system, it is 5S because safety is ingrained in the culture. But you will hear people talk about a 6th S, which is called safety. If you'd like to take a break, this is a great place to take a break. You can just click that pause button, and once you've clicked that pause, you can come back to this video later on. Let us keep going. The next part, we're going to cover what is the underlying principles of 5S. If you have seen a fire truck, this is a fire truck, an American fire truck, And in the fire truck, there is a place for everything and everything in its place, clean and ready for use. If there is one thing I'd like you to remember, is that saying. How about we say it together? A place for everything, everything in its place, clean and ready for use. All through the organization, your organization, I want to encourage you to teach your team members this saying and put it up in the workplace, put it up in areas where you have break rooms, areas where you have gathering of teams, a place for everything, everything in its place, clean and ready for use. If I was to ask you, what is 5S? A place for everything, everything in its place, clean and ready for use. 5S is a workplace organization that gets you a place for everything, everything in its place, clean and ready for use. A place for everything, everything in its place, clean and ready for use. I know you didn't say it the first time, so let's try it this time. Come on. I can hear you right where you are. Let's say it. A place for everything, everything in its place, clean and ready for use. A place for everything, everything in its place, clean and ready for use. When you become a master of 5S, your life becomes organized. In your garage, in your home, at your workplace, you have a place for everything, everything in its place, clean and ready for use. You got it. That's exactly it. The fire truck has a place for everything. Why is it important for the fire truck to be organized? How many of you would like a fire truck to come to your house and they are looking for the axe or looking for the hose? And oh my gosh, we forgot the hose at the factory, at the firehouse station. So we have to send someone back to find the hose. You see, for the fire truck, being organized is mission critical. It's mission critical. And even for you in your workplace, being organized is mission critical, because lack of organization leads to waste, as we will see in the next class. And if you waste time, you don't get to spend time with your family, you don't get to spend time being productive, and it brings forth a lot of frustration. So let's say together one more time, because it's going to help us all. A place for everything, everything in its place, clean and ready for use, just like the fire truck. Let's keep going. So, the method of getting organized, because the first step we have to take is to get organized. And your assignment for this week and this month is to run a 5S workshop. You have your lean trainers, your lean leaders, your department heads, your coaches who will help you work through this exercise. So what is the 5S exercise? It's called a 5S workshop. The workshop is what gets us organized initially. We walk through all the 5 S's, and when we walk through all the 5 S's, we get to a standard that we can now continuously standardize. It doesn't matter whether you're 5S'ing your laptop, whether you're 5S'ing your office, whether you're 5S'ing a shop floor, whether you're 5S'ing a warehouse, whether you're 5S'ing a manufacturing facility, the principles are the same. The core principles are the same. So let us go through 5S in your workshop. The first step of the process is to sort. And one of the things that we use during the sorting stage is called a red tag. These red tags are available for purchase, as I will show you, and you can get them, or you can even make them. Print a red tag, and I will give you a template that allows you to be able to do it. You develop red tag standards, then the next step is to red tag, and then the next step is to get buy-in from different members of the organization. So the first process, you break your team into work groups. This is what we'll be doing this month. Break your teams into work groups. Select point persons who will take responsibility to ensure that the team stays on task and assignments are complete. Discuss what's the purpose of the area that is being 5S'd, or the area of the workshop. And then you go and literally sort and eliminate unneeded items, eliminate unwanted items, and put them in a specific location. And the question you want to ask is, are these items used to fulfill the purpose of this area? And you also want to ask the actual operators. Stop for a minute. It's very easy for you to decide what is needed and what's not needed as a boss or a supervisor or a department head or a coach. But you want to make sure you get your team involved, because they are the process experts and they are the ones who will be involved in using that workspace when you're gone. So you want to lead with very many questions. You want to gather the team together and ask them, what do we need? What do we not need? And you want to make sure you record the items that are considered not needed, the items to be eliminated. You also want to ask, are there any items that we need that are not in the workspace? Are there items that the person has to walk to a certain place to get that are not in the workplace? Are there items that we have to reach out that we might need to go and bring into the workspace? So not only are you eliminating unneeded items, you're also bringing in items that are needed. How do you define your purpose? You list the name of the area, the purpose of the area. I'll give you an example. The name of the area is, for example, I will say print. Everybody has a print area where they keep print supplies. And the purpose of the area is office printing. Office printing. Of course, your handwriting will be better than mine, but that's what it is. And you write the area. What's the purpose of that area? And you can do this even in your house. I know I do it with my children, and it's going to help you get very organized. So after you've written the purpose of that area, you agree with your team that that written purpose is the actual written purpose. Please, there'll be great temptation to skip steps or to skip different steps that are presented in this training. However, this training has been used to make world-class organizations. So please resist the temptation of missing the step of defining the area. You may know what the area is used for, but someone else may not know. And it's important for everyone to agree what the workspace is used for. Because somebody may think the print area is actually used to store paper. Someone else may think it's just used to print. So getting that consensus. Lean is about consensus, getting the whole team involved. Often when we're doing a lot of training, we get team members involved. Next, you decide what is needed. You separate the needed from the unneeded items and put them together in a neat. This is not so much organizing. It is separating, and you put them in a neat fashion, but do not get caught up in the cycle of trying to organize at this stage. For this reason, if you organize an area that you have not fully agreed what goes in that area, you're going to have to reorganize an area that you've already organized. You want to organize an area after you have finalized the list of items that go in that area. Why is this important? Safer workspace, to gain more space, because the things you don't need will now be eliminated. This is even beneficial if you want to organize. Begin with something basic like your wallet or your handbag. Wallet for men, handbags for ladies. Begin by organizing something basic. These principles apply to different areas. Safer work area, you gain more space. For the men, I know how it feels when my wallet is not pressing by my pocket because I've removed all those old receipts and now it's organized and very well kept, and it's has been professionally kept, and it's not too thick. But sometimes the wallet gets so thick that it even begins to deform. So organizing helps you gain space, helps you have a safer work area, helps you save time, and it also helps you avoid searching for needed items, and also removes waste, as we're going to discuss in our next course. Things to remember: start in one area and sort through everything. When you gather your teams, begin with one area. Don't go and do it in many areas, because 5S will never be completed if you just disperse into many areas. Go area after area after area after area, and discuss the removal of items with all persons involved. It's not about just removing the items. It's about developing a team that understands 5S. Remember the people who work in that area. We as lean leaders must be team players. We covered that in the 14 principles. We must be able to be team players. Also, you want to use proper disposable equipment, because some material may, like in our print shop, we may have ink that we need to dispose. You want to make sure you're disposing it the right way. You may have batteries that you need to dispose. You want to make sure you're disposing them the right way. Also, items that cannot be removed immediately should be red tagged. Items that cannot be removed immediately or need a further discussion should be red tagged. Questions to ask about each items. Number one, why is this here? Why is this item here? Number two, what is it used for? These two questions are very important because people have an emotional attachment to things. So you get used to having your space full of things. And you must ask, why is this item here? And what is it used for? If you cannot answer those two questions, the item does not belong there. Why is it here? And what is it used for? Remember, lean leaders, you lead by questions. You're there to ask questions. If you don't get a good answer, the items go to the red tag. There must be items to remove. Regardless of how well organized our workspaces are, there is always waste in the area. In the organizations that I'm responsible for, we do 5S audits every week. We go through cycles of 5S audits every week. We go through cycles to audit and walk through. Every day, every week, we do one 5S red tag audit, and we do an everyday 5S walkthrough as I will show you how to audit and walk through. I mentioned the red tag. That's it right there. The red tag is a tag, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit, that has the name, the date, the description, what work area it was found in, what quantity, and then what category does it fall into. Is it raw material? Is it work in progress? Is it finished goods? Is it general? Do we not know what it is? And at the back of the red tag is what the reason why it was put in the red tag area. Was it an additional supply not needed in the next 30 days? Remember the rule of 30. The next 30 days, it gets out of that area. We don't know the future. Also, the description, is it going to be scrap? Is it going to be what's going to happen to it? How are we going to dispose of it? And you want to make sure you record who disposed of it, what date it was disposed of, and by who it was disposed of. Next to the red tag is also what we consider the yellow tag. The yellow tag is items that need to be talked over. Items that need to be talked over. They were tagged. The front of the red tag, all this is in your slides. The back of the tag. So a yellow tag item could have been found that it's not used every day, but it's in the everyday area. So you move it to the 7-day area. You move it to the 7-day area. Now, red tagging criteria. Remember, this is an in-depth study of 5S. Red tagging criteria and actions for items. If you use the use frequency and the action. If the use frequency is absolute and needed, it's not been touched, it's been gathering dust, it's an old item, it's outdated, it's obsolete, you throw away the item. Throw the item away. Throw the item away. I'm going to highlight that. Throw away the item. Do not keep items that are obsolete. We throw them away. Regardless of how the temptation is, if you haven't used it in a year, you're not going to use it this year, throw the item away. Next, less than once a month, move to a red tag area and put it in your 30-day area. It should not be in the workspace. If it's used once a week, put it in a storage area in the work area. If it's used once a day during production cycles or during cycles, frequent cycles, you keep it in a cart or a bag or a kit area very close. If you use it every moment, every minute, you put it on your belt and you carry it. You carry it on you. This slide is very important. Please make sure you adhere to the principles that we are teaching for 5S because they will help you get organized and help you be motivated and happy with the workspace. Next, sorting the red tag area. Now, in your facility, in your office, on your desktop, at your workspace, in your bag or your wallet, you now have a big pile of red tag items. How do you sort them? You want to sort them by going to the assigned area, photograph the assigned area. Even if it's a bag, take a photo. Even if it's something small like a wallet, take a photo. Even if it's a machine area, take a photo. I know I am using everyday kind examples. I use that to help with the teaching, to help it easier, to make it easier to teach. But these principles apply even in a big manufacturing plant. These have been used at Honda. We've taught them at Honda. We've taught them at YSK, General Electric, Toyota, different larger facilities, churches, This has been used at churches, mission fields. We've taught them to different kinds of people, and the same principles apply. So you go, you take a photograph of the area, you assign keepers of master's list. You want to document everything that's in the red area, every red tag, and assign a keeper of that list. There needs to be a leader who keeps that list. Then in each area, you want to discuss each item with the team and agree with the team whether the item needs to stay in the work area or it needs to be removed from the work area. Next, you sort by placing the red tag and reaching out for a manager, a supervisor, a department head, a lean coach, or reaching out to your lean sensei, or reaching out to us and asking for more information or consensus or approval. Do not discard of items without getting consensus. Don't discard items in frustration, because you'll get frustrated. Oh, I've got all these things that I don't use. Just throw them, just throw them, just throw them. Well, you may not know your manager or your project managers have a project that's going to need those items. Let us be very careful not just to throw away things, regardless of whether they are damaged or whether they are not in good condition. You want to make sure you get consensus and agreement on what needs to be discarded. Next, you establish a red tag holding area. And then you establish a process for removing items from the red tag area. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Here is an example of a master's list: items, reason, the date, and the red tag. How do you get buy-in and how do you get everyone's consensus? Depending on people's personalities, there are people who see a lot of items and they just throw them. They throw them and it's waste. Just throw it. I don't need it. They throw it, get it out of the workspace. I have seen this in different organizations. And then there is the other extreme of people who want to hold on to everything because they might use it one day. As a lean leader, you want to be in the middle. You want a reason why everything is where it is. Remember the two questions we ask. Why is it here? And what is it used for? Those are the two questions. You want to bring the team back together. You want to have the team review all the items that are being thrown. And you want the team to see, is there any other item which should have been red tagged? The process of 5S is a repetitive process. You're going to keep going over and over and over a process. Here's an example of a red tag area of an office. As I talked to you about a print area, this is an area that was used for print, but ended up becoming more of a storage and an area where everyone kept papers and kept different things. I wonder how, if you have an area like this in your workspace. As you can see on the image on the left, as I will show you here, you see there is a bag on the desk, papers, shelves, all these different items all over the workspace. And right there, files, folders, old paper boxes, folders that have not been touched, a telephone on top of the file cabinet, old papers that haven't been used. And through a 5S exercise, we were now able, the team there, the lean team there, was now able to eliminate a desk, eliminate boxes, eliminate all these files, put things in totes, eliminate a cart that wasn't needed, and eliminate different boxes. I'd like you to think about how it feels to work in this space before and after this exercise. As lean students and coaches, I want to encourage you. Motivation of your team members is usually connected to how they feel about their workspace. When people sign up to come and work with you and for you, they have opted to be on your team. So they have opted in to work with you and for you. So we must work with our team to make work enjoyable and give them a space and a type of environment that is exciting to work in. The lady in this picture was very frustrated before the exercise. But after the exercise, she was happy, coming into the office excited, coming into the office full of joy. And guess what happened? Her productivity doubled. Productivity also increased. Why? Because now she had a good place that she could be proud to work in. The next step of the 5S flow is to set in order and to shine. If you'd like to take a break, this is a perfect time to take a break. Go get some water, go take a quick break, pause the video, and you could always come back as we continue through our 5S process flow. Welcome back. We are now in set in order and shine. This is the waste elimination. So, right now at your workspace, you should have only the items that are needed. Nothing that is not needed on an everyday workspace. You only have items that you need. The red tag area should have by now been taken care of. The red tag area should have been separated. Management have made a decision on what they want to do, but those items are not making their way back to the workspace. So we are now just talking about the workspace, the items that you need in the workspace. This is a picture of a shadow board in Alcatraz. For those of you who may not know what Alcatraz is, it's a maximum or was a maximum security prison for hardened criminals. And this is how they kept knives in the kitchen. So at the end of every shift, the supervisor would come and look at this shadow box, and they would expect to find all the knives in this shadow box. If they didn't find them, guess what? They know that a knife is missing. This is how your operation should be, because this is not a new concept and it's not a complex concept. Shadow boxes, workspace organization has been used by different organizations. Even the military still uses this. It would be a good idea for you to build a shadow box for your tools. I'll show you some examples, and I'll upload in the learning management system some examples of shadow boxes. Let's keep on with our study. Set in order. Why do you set in order? We set in order so that it's easy to see, easy to get, easy to return. I have so many of these rhyming statements. A place for everything, everything in its place, clean and ready to use. Why do we set in order? So it's easy to see, easy to get, easy to return. Easy to see, easy to get, easy to return. It improves safety. It enables sharing of supplies and equipment. It identifies excessive inventory. Companies have been known to save millions. Companies like McDonald's save millions on such exercises. And it ensures that everything is where it is needed when it is needed. Why do we shine? It boosts morale. It improves the work environment. And cleaning and inspection becomes easy. And it also improves safety. Set in order. The first steps to visual management are to set things in order. Because through visual management, you can see when something is not in place or when something is abnormal. An abnormal condition is easily identified. Also, you can create a basis for standard work. We're going to be covering standard work in our next training, and we're also going to be covering standard work in our waste training. You cannot have standard work without a standard. The set in order and shine is the basis for standard work. It also improves communication, tells you when it's yes and no. It also supports work groups, supports accountability and process reliability, reduces the training period. Training is one of the hardest things that organizations have to do, and this reduces the training period for new employees. It promotes safety, promotes quality, and employee satisfaction in the workplace. Let's take a look at this picture. Sorting to reduce waste. Look at that wonderful desk on the left. If I was to ask you to go and find a delivery sheet or an invoice on the desk on the left, how long do you think it would take you? It is very difficult to sort through all this mess. I wouldn't even just call it mess, but this unorganization to find a piece of paper. But even basic files and folders and check sheets, after removing unnecessary material, you've now gained important real estate, a place to work, and you have organized your documentation. So it is easy to even train someone else, and it also uplifts your morale and your excitement to work in such a space. I'm looking forward to having your workspaces like that. Another example of 5S. On the left, no folders, just everything thrown together. Duplicate supplies. Before pictures, folders open. Everyone spends time searching through supplies. But now, if you look at the after pictures, everything, there's space that has been reclaimed. Items have been color-coded, blue, yellow, red, and there is initiative to ensure that each item has a location, everything in its place, a place for everything, clean and ready to use. This versus this. If you were to go to a hospital for a basic procedure, and I told you hospital A looks like this, and hospital B looks like this, which one would you have more trust in? Definitely hospital B, because hospital A you might leave with an additional situation. This is a tool that I use even for me personally, which is visual management for tools, for files. All designs, SOPs, documents kept in a file cabinet, and a blue line, yellow line, red line, whatever, crossing all across. And when one folder is missing, you can easily tell. As a lean leader, we keep things simple, we provide information, we involve everyone, and we make things visual. It must be visually appealing and communicate visually, not just for you, but for even other members. Next, shining, you sweep and you clean. You keep the area clean continuously. You keep the work area clean. And as you clean, remember the process of cleaning is eliminating waste. There should be no man's land. No man's land is area where things collect. Oh, just put it down there because that's an open space. Eliminate no man's land. Every space is valuable. Everything in its place, a place for everything, clean and ready to use. How many of you remember the saying for shine? It might show up in an exam or a quiz. To sort and to shine. What did we say about it? Go back through your notes and you'll find that saying. The checkpoints for shine, a detailed action plan. You want to make sure what needs to be cleaned, who is in charge of cleaning, decide on what the cleaning method is, decide on what are appropriate cleaning tools, and begin to clean. The main point here is involve people. Shining, you need to involve teams, involve people. Visually inspect the entire area and ask yourself, why are items located where they are? Set in order is a very unique process because now we have a clean space. We now need to put a system of operation. And all this is happening now as you're shining. You want to put and ask yourself, why are items located where they are? Even in the workspace, why are they located where they are? Think about the police officer's belt and the police officer's pockets and his vest. Every tool, the spray, the gun, the taser, the tool, the scissors, everything is there for easy access and for a specific reason. Let's go back to our fire truck idea. The fire truck, they must ask, why is everything where it is? Why is it located where it is? It's not just good enough to have everything you need. You want everything you need at the right place. Everything in its place, a place for everything, clean and ready to use. Next question you ask, is our items easy to see, easy to get, easy to replace? There it is. Easy to see, easy to get, easy to replace. Come on, let's say it together. Easy to see, easy to get, easy to replace. Easy to see, easy to get, easy to replace. You also ask yourself, is there closed storage where open storage is appropriate? Do not be quick to lock or close areas. You want to make sure that the storage areas are easy to access, because restricting access is restricting productivity. Next, how can we maintain the order to prevent the workplace from returning to its previous state? I want you to discuss this with your teams. Now that we have a good place that has been sorted, has been shined, has been set in order, and now we want to ask, how do we avoid those habits from coming back? How do we avoid those bad habits? And that is where we go back to our 5S flow diagram, which we look at the standardize and sustain. By now, you should have a good understanding of the sort, set in order, of the shine. If you don't have a good understanding, please make sure you go back through the slides and go back through this recording and get a good understanding of those three processes. The next one is standards. Making standards, making visuals, assigning maintenance and inspection, buying in and improving, and assigning remaining items. So let us talk about standardization. This is a basic introduction to standardization. You're going to get a full teaching on standard work, the basic understanding. To maintain the workplace, read with me, to maintain the workplace at the level which uncovers and makes problems obvious. The reasons we standardize is so as to keep bringing problems to the surface. These definitions and this teaching is also found in the Toyota Way field book, which I will be explaining at the end of this training. Why? The reason why you do standard work is to sustain sorting, storage, and shining activities on a daily basis. Things to remember. We must keep the workplace neat enough for visual identifiers to be effective in uncovering hidden problems. The whole objective of 5S and standard work is to reveal problems, to show hidden problems. For example, in Alcatraz, when a knife is missing, that's a problem. Develop a system that will enable anyone in the workplace to see when a problem occurs. Also allow employees to participate in development of standards in their workspace. Standardize with visuals. Examples: yellow tape on the floor for items that move, green tape on walkways, desks, tables, pink signs for instructions, green signs for locations, pull card for supplies, reorder cards, reorder processes. There are different ways to standardize. Standardize. Here is another example. Spare parts, replace or repair with standard indicators, office supplies, recording programs, production or office supplies, water spiders, replenishment system, Kanban systems. All these are part of standard systems. And don't worry if you don't know what a Kanban is, if you don't know what a water spider is, we are going to learn this and we're going to cover it in the next coming weeks. Sustain. Sustain is self-discipline. Standard worksheets, audit sheets, asking why. To build, the reason why we sustain is so as to build housekeeping, to build housekeeping into the everyday process. Go ahead and read that for me. To build housekeeping into the everyday process, correct procedures become habits when you standardize. Also, to show our commitment to 5S. This is why we standardize. You standardize because habits continues to pile up. Things to remember: when standardizing, you must have schedules, check sheets, checklists. These are mandatory to maintain standards. If there is one thing I believe with everything, checklists are the pillars of 5S. If 5S is the pillar of lean, The checklist and the schedule is the pillar for 5S. Anyone who says they cannot do a checklist, as lean leaders, you need to hold that person accountable, because checklists not done will end up leading to processes getting out of standard. Checklists must be adhered to and enforced. Ensure you're working with your team for them to understand the importance of checklists. There is a whole training on checklists, and it's important for you to understand why those are important. Next, things to remember. Good habits are hard to break, and bad habits are hard to change. So, checklists help you with discipline. We have a collection of checklists that are available, but ideally, you would come up with your own checklist. Committed to discipline is the first step to being world class. We must be committed to discipline. Let's keep reading. Sustain. Sustaining means maintenance and inspection. Standard works, verification cards, inviting for employee feedback. Let us go through some examples around the years of good sustain systems. Sustain systems are public 5S task list, 5S checklists. This is a great board that has been used to sustain. A verification cards, there is an example of a verification card. It is in your notes if you'd like to use a verification card. 5S workplaces, going back to why a level 5 5S or a grade 5S kitchen. This is a kitchen with grade 5S, everything in its place, a place for everything, clean and ready for use. This kitchen just makes you want to cook, or maybe for some people it doesn't make you want to touch anything. But I would love to work in such an environment. It's very motivating and very easy to work in. And we must work towards being world-class organizations and world-class systems. Let's talk a little bit about continuous improvement as we come to an end of our training for the day. Continuous improvement. Why is this important? Continuous improvement is everything we've covered today is not easy. And it takes years to build the discipline, especially when it comes to standardizing. That is why I emphasize the importance of checklists. Checklists and schedules bring discipline. iKanban is a scheduling tool that is made available for project management. Even within iKanban, you have a checklist tool that allows you to come up with checklists for every project. We have provided you with the tools, and now it's your responsibility to take those tools and use them in the workspace. Continuous improvement is what will help you improve your workspace. Because what is important today may not be important tomorrow. For example, going back to my wallet, my bank card expires every X amount of years. There is no need of me keeping an expired bank card in my wallet because I don't use it. So I need my 30-day area to keep my card. But for me to know which cards have expired, I must 5S my environment through continuous improvement. As I mentioned, in our lean facilities, we do 5S every day and an audit every week. 5S walkthroughs every day, 5S audits every week. If an activity goes on in any organization I am over, there is a checklist, there is a document to make sure that procedures are followed. And that document is enforced with discipline. So continuous improvement is what will help you improve your environment. It will help you keep improving, and it allows everyone to realize that everything can be improved. As lean leaders, we need to encourage our team members, even the ones who say they are the best or this is the best. Challenge them to always improve. Can you organize your place better? Let us go back and look at it again. Can we improve this workspace? And through everyday improvement, we will become world class. Areas of improvement are continuous improvement, Kaizen event, verification, rotation, suggestion programs, and such things. Now, before we finish our 5S day, and before you finish your 5S day, you want to make sure that you have standard sheets posted and completed. Make sure you have your checklist in mind. Make sure you have all your future to-do lists in mind. Also, make sure you have checklists, as I have documented for you. There's a 5S safety checklist, and you have all these different documents that are a guide for you to create your own document. Now, that is our 5S training. I'm sure as you're going through this training, there has been many questions going through your mind. And that's what we're here for. We're here to walk with you through your lean journey, to help you become world class. So I encourage you to ask as many questions as you'd like to ask. And I also encourage you to get this Toyota Way field book. In whatever facility you're watching this video, you have been provided with this book in the facility. So wherever you are internationally, this book has been made available. 5S and standard work is explained in detail in that book. This has been a good training, a good teaching, but this has just been the beginning. There's a lot of learning. Remember your homework. Your homework for this month, the next 30 days, is to do one area of 5S exercises. One area. We're not going to solve the whole facility, but we're going to pick a space and perfect our 5S. I hope you've learned on our lean journey. And every day, remember, we go beyond, we go places.